Join me as you and I and you take a journey to become better writers together and geek out.
I was wondering if Matt was going to say something.
What are you talking about? I'm here looking at my Fire Emblem Cipher cards. What are you talking about?
Well, folks, there you have it. We got ourselves some Mark Torres, some George Medina, some Lee here, showing off their new enterprise called Designated. Or is it the designation of Designated?
I know it's an enterprise. That's a lot of pressure right there.
You know, we always got to make it harder on you. So, Mark Torres, we know what you're here for. Let the audience know what's going on. Let's kick this off from the start. Go for it.
So, hello, everybody. I am Mark Torres, host of Creative It Came From Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con. And the trick of being in the radio show that I've had, which has just celebrated its 21st year, 20th anniversary, we're now in the 21st year, is the reason why I did that was to get into making my own comic book. So 30 years ago, I came up with this story to make this book. About 20 years ago, I got it penciled and inked, and we tried to get this to be published finally, and we're finally at this point in time where I believe we're going to get this published. I got George Medina as our letterer, and we have Lee Kalinsky, who was nice enough to adapt my script for the comic and turn it into a radio play, which we're going to be using to promote the book.
I feel like it's different to do the whole radio thing. I've also heard some rumblings of some other people that are going to try to do the same thing you did. I think you've beat some of them to the punch.
I saw one person, but they they put like a big bag of money into it, so they had like a radio drama separate from the crowdfunded book. I was like, all right, man, you do you. That's
a lot of work by itself, man.
And they were selling.
I know what you guys did is already a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. From conception, how long ago did you come up with this idea, Lee?
Oh man, it was a few months back, right? Four months ago. We were at the Aviation Museum. I just don't remember which con that was.
The retro game. That was a retro game. When the
retro gaming, yeah.
Yeah, when was that?
Ooh, I think that was
the one for this year, last year. COVID.
The one where we were at White Castle. When did we go to White Castle?
Oh, I missed the White Castle part.
Around Christmas, I think.
Thanksgiving. With Lou, that's everyone. We always go to White Castle.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, why are you throwing that as if it was Lou's idea? We all know it was you, Tony.
Well, next time I'm going with you.
Well, everybody's invited to a White Castle.
Gotta go again. I mean,
Oh,
you drag me there.
if it's my decision, if it's my decision, it's a bar, man. I'm not.
We can bring the White Castle to the bar.
If I remember correctly, we went to White Castle because there were no bars open.
I gotta admit, when we did the brewery one, Tony was happy as heck.
It's probably
the indie art show. Tony was all like, "All right."
Oh, that was good too, man.
Oh man,
the pizzas were killer, man.
No, Brooklyn had a full bartender. I was like, yeah, Brooklyn had a full bartender. Yeah.
Oh man.
There's also art and comics, but the food is.
Yeah, well, the problem is that sometimes the food, the drink, and the con itself get all mixed together. So you guys have been I feel like, Mark, you really stepped up your game after trying this the last time.
We were just kicking around an idea of how we can make it something different. A lot of factors fell into place. Like the first time we tried this, which was in August, September, maybe last year, July, August, around that time. It was just kind of, we were gonna do it. Stuff happened. I was like, well, we're halfway doing it anyway. Might as well just go through, see what happens. So this time was a little more planned out to do it on my own, and fortune kind of reared its head. David Barish from Crowdfundr was on another friend of the show's live stream, Indie Comics Explained, and he was talking about it, and I was like, this sounds like a really cool thing. Let me play around with it. And since we had a lot of stuff from the Kickstarter, my graphic designer, Abby Gavato, she was able to bring a lot of stuff of that over. And she did such an amazing job the first time. And we were talking about what can we do to make it a little different. And I was talking to Lee, and Lee's like, let's do a radio play. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, we can do this and do that. And I was like, okay, go ahead. And that was pretty much it. And he's like, I'll do the casting. And we did the casting, and he adapted the script, and then we went. What else? The process? You want to explain what you did?
Go for it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, no, we did the casting part of it. So a bunch of like favors from friends, and then we basically we also did the sound effects, right? Try to find like a cool way to kind of present the comic with sound effects. So we were just like looking for some free stuff, and kind of cruising the web, and I mean, it was just kind of a guerrilla style way of making this, but it's pretty cool. And I think we're going to do the live in April, right? So
yeah, at the MCon. I spoke to Kelly Gordon today of the MCon. It's the East Middle Public Library at mconanimefest.com. I know MCon Anime Fest on Facebook, and you have to go to www.eastmiddle.info for more information. And I spoke to him today because we did our live show, which was our 66th live show at the East Middle Library. And he said they haven't made the schedule yet, so one of those 2 days we're going to be doing the live show there. We're going to do a live table read with sound effects, and we're going to have the pictures of the comic in the background. It's going to look really nice. And what's really cool is that Lee is not only his own comic book writer in his own right, but he's also a filmmaker, so he knows all this stuff. It wasn't like he's just some guy that said, hey, let's do this. No, he knows.
This random dude.
I love that book.
Oh, man. I feel like Lee's like, I'm a guy. I'm like, dude,
hey,
you do stuff, bro.
I do. Yeah, I guess I do stuff, but I mean, look, I'm just here. I wanted to help Mark, man, with his book and get it off the ground. I know he's been at it for a long time, and he's been really, kind of a friend to me for a long time at this point. We've been, part of his radio show. Me and my daughter do the Jay Bird and Lee podcast, 5-minute segment we put on with, he attaches it, kind enough to attach it to your show. So, I just wanted to kind of return the favor. And I believe in like the arts, man. So it's kind of just like, if you're trying to get something out there, let's just do it.
Exactly. So, that was my next question was like, I can tell this is something right up your alley, because I know you're always trying to push forward, push the what you do, and we like that here ourselves, because we're always trying to do something else, to make something happen.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm always trying to come up with some cool idea or do something creative. It's kind of just, it's what I do, right? It's kind of in you, right? Like writing or just creating, right? So it's just like, whether it's for an audience or just for yourself, I'm personally just always trying to like push something, out into the world a little bit, even if, my mom's reading it. So, it doesn't matter, I just want to, so, right. But I've been fortunate enough to kind of, get things produced and have a couple of films out there and a couple of self-published books. And so it's just pretty much, and I enjoy doing the podcast with my daughter. It's kind of like a cool thing, for her, and for me, it's just like a father-daughter kind of thing. So I'm trying to get my son into it a little bit, so it's kind of cool, just, and anything to kind of just be creative is what I'm kind of looking at. And, I definitely recognize, Mark's, it's a hard thing to get your stuff out there. And, he's been doing the show for like 20 years, right? So this is kind of a cool, addition for the 20 years of you doing this, in a way, like having your book out and, the crowdfunder and all the clips that we're going to be putting out for the next couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, one we broke into 4 parts, so we're going to do one part per week to try and keep the interest going. That was actually another suggestion. I forgot who it was. It was either Lee or it was either Mr. J. Rosario, who does one of the voices. He said, don't get all that in one shot, do 4 parts. I'm like, all right. So that's why 4 segments.
It just calls for it. Because if it's comic books, it's the way comics books are anyway. It's like next week on. You know,
Right. And, if it's definitely slightly different than the actual book itself because it's all the illustrations and you get to show a lot. So here we have to kind of tell people what's going on. So Mark narrates like the whole thing. So, it's perfect, and I think the actors are having a good time doing it, so it's pretty cool.
And it's actually the first time I ever got anything of mine adapted. So now I know what it's like when you write a script and then it's adapted for a movie. Like, hey, I didn't write it like that, or hey, that was changed. I know exactly because when we're reading through the lines, I'm like, wait, wasn't this part in there? It's like, no, I had to cut that
out. Well, if we had 20 people to act this out, I would totally do it. But we're down to 5, so it's multiple parts. But
yeah, that was the other thing. I never counted how many different people were speaking. It was like 20-something different people speaking, even if they had like one line.
Jesus.
And so he's like, yeah, we gotta cut that down a lot.
Right. So, and that's the thing, I mean, I'm glad you're open to that kind of, editing in the first place. I mean, like, it doesn't affect the book. It just affects really the show in a way, just to kind of see how you adapt the book into the kind of just, so people understand like what's going on really quickly, without reading something, which hopefully that'll lead to actually, hey, I do really want to buy this book, this is a cool idea.
So a 22-page book, right? 22-page comic. How many parts of a radio play is it? Like, you're saying it's 4 parts. How many minutes per part? Like how does it translate to?
4 or 5 minutes. Because what we figured out was a half hour television series is a 22-page book. That's they kind of equate.
Oh.
So like, if you remember in the old days when they had comic book adaptations of cartoon series, it was 22 pages, half hour. So we figured it was about give or take like that. So when we reduced it, it came out to about like 20 change.
Well, we dropped the book. It's 12 pages. So right. So it's 12 pages, and it's still roughly 20 minutes or so.
Because a lot of narration.
Yeah, a lot of narration. Yeah.
I didn't realize how much narration it was until I was reading it over and over and over again.
Right. And yeah, we've got it's still down to like, I think 10 parts or something like that. So we did cut it in half.
We had a double some actors, but yeah, about like 10 speaking roles.
Yeah.
So Jorge, how do you come into all this?
So back in, I think it was June of last year, Mark contacted me. It was via, I guess, Messenger. He was like, I think you were just asking me about Kickstarter, because I had just finished mine, or I was finishing up mine, and you had just questions about Kickstarter because you were about to launch yours. And then you just kind of was like, hey, how much that you charge for lettering? And I was like, oh, this much or whatever. And he was like, all right, cool. And sure enough, later, just as the months went by, he was like, he just sent me the script, like, because you already had like something. You sent me the script, said, here it is, sent me the pages. It was going to be colored, so I started lettering with color in mind. And then, obviously, now we're doing it in black and white. But yeah, that's how I got involved, man. And so I read through the script. I was like, yo, this thing is dope. Like, I knew that you had a bookmark. I didn't know how much of it you had finished. And it's like 110 pages. Like, this is just 22 pages of a 110-page book. So this is just like the tip of the iceberg with this freaking issue. So yeah, man, that's how I came on, and I was happy to do it. I mean, the story's great. Like, I love it. I'm not just saying that because I'm on the show. It really is. Like, it really is a fun story, And so I was like, yo, dude, yeah, hell yeah, man, let's do this. But yeah, it was good. And a lot of the thing, like, as a letterer, obviously the pages were done. I'm trying not to cover any artwork, but there is a substantial amount of dialogue within the pages. So when you pledge to this book, you're not going to run through this thing in 5 minutes. And you're like, what the hell? I paid all this money and that's all I got. No, you're getting some story in this book. So yeah, no, it was fun to do. It was fun to figure out where to put the balloon so that you're not covering too many things. So yeah, it was a good time.
That's one of the things we learned last time from Mark itself, that the book is basically done. All the pieces are basically done. He just needs the money to get it all out there.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And of course, if you guys help support Mark here, You know, the good thing about last time was that the more money he would get, the more books he would be able to show off at one time. Is that still the case, Mark?
It could be. I mean, the amount is lower because it's in black and white. So the first goal will be just to get it in color. If we manage to get that far ahead, we get a color book. So that's, you know, you pay for the black and white, and if we make enough money, it would be colored. That'd be awesome. And then I guess if we go once again up the ladder, we can do it. We have the ability. That is something that we have the ability to do. I can be like, hey, we have. Let's say we go crazy and we make, you know, $20,000. Like, well, I think we're gonna be able to make a second book with this much. And so instead of getting one comic, you'll get two.
Right.
Just because.
Dude, that alone is an incentive. Dude, we get over here, you get 2 books for the price of one.
Yeah, that's essentially the one thing that I went to talk to a lot of shows when I did the promotion. They said that was the one advantage that I had, was that the book was written
Done. Yeah.
and penciled and inked. Well, mostly inked. So they're like, I can't believe that you've had it sitting there. I was like, I can't believe it either, but that's just the name of the game.
See, I think people forget that it's so much money to get these books done. I think people, when they think comic books, they're not thinking the bigger picture. You know, we've done all these interviews. We know the process that's there to get these comic books out there, and it's not a simple process. It takes a lot of money too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it certainly does.
I mean, Lee, you did the one issue. How long ago was that, and how much? Ballpark.
Oh my gosh. Man, I think it's like 10 years ago, I think, for one of them. So, and that was like 1,000 maybe. And I forgot how many issues I printed. I don't think it was too many for the run. I did put it on Amazon for Kindle to download, but it's kind of like, you know, the whole thing is, it is a process. I mean, it really is a process. Writing it is the first step, right? And that idea, and then, you know, every stage is like a certain type of effort, right? And I mean, look, I've had this same issue with film. You know, you write it, then you got to raise the money to do it, you know, and you know, right, and it's on an even kind of a bigger scale, because you're kind of spending, you know, many thousands of dollars and hope that you kind of like pay off, you know, at some point. And most times it's a loss. So it's kind of just like, all right, you know, but you know, it takes a while, and each step, just distribution alone, it takes forever, you know. And like, you know, I know with the books, at least there's spaces that you can kind of put it out there and you know, probably have people get it and buy it. So that part's pretty cool. You know, you could actually put it on certain platforms, and people can download it or buy it, and, you know, on print. But you know, with film, it was definitely another challenge, because you're trying to get it out there, and then like hopefully it's on television at some point. So that's another thing.
Is it easier now because of all the streaming services, or is it more difficult now?
Good question.
So I think I would say it changed a lot over the years. So like when nobody knew what the heck they were doing with digital, it was a lot easier to get your stuff out there. Like I sold like most of my short films to Shorts TV, and that was like just kind of like I contacted the distributor, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll take it, no problem. We need content." You know, granted you didn't make your budget back, but hey, you know, it was on. I think
money,
yeah, it's still money, and you're shown. I think with the 3 movies that I sold there, I think I was on like 3-4 times a year for like maybe 3 years, and then you re-up the contract. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't bad, you know, and then and you could still go anywhere else you want. It wasn't like exclusive to that space. So you could go to other areas, but it did take like it just takes a while to get it, find it. But I think it is a lot harder now because they have these aggregators. So it's sort of like you have to, if you want to be on Netflix, you have to go through somebody else to get it onto Netflix. So it's like a whole thing, you know, you're going through other channels to hopefully get your work up there. And it's, everybody wants to take a piece of the pie. So that's another part of it. I did a feature, you know, a bunch of years back, and they were like, you know, we delivered the movie, we spent like a ton of money, and they're like, well, what's your marketing budget? And we're like, well, we don't really have one and anymore, because we just put it all into the film, you know. And we were kind of just you know, pushing out, I don't know, social media was pretty much like our whole thing, right? It was all social media. But then they're like, well, we can advertise it for you, but we're going to take money out of your profits, right? And you're just like, man, well, how much is this going to cost me, and how much am I going to get back, and you just don't know what they want to spend. And they kind of like go to trade shows, so they'll charge you for the plane fee, they'll charge you for putting your movie in the book itself, that the catalog that they show people. They print out a poster, they're charging you for it, so this goes on. And we were at the point where we're like, look, we're not going to go that route. You're just going to try and, we're not advertising, you're just going to put it off wherever you could get it. And that's what we did. We had it in a couple of places through Time Warner for a while, but it just takes a long time to make the money back in general, especially when you have for film, you have like a lot of partners. So, especially when you're raising like a good chunk of money. So, everybody wants a little bit of their cut, and that's, becomes a thing. But, I think it's a little bit easier when you're doing it with the books, because you're pretty much paying outright everything, so like you're the creator. So you're going to pay the letterer, you're going to pay the, the distributor or whoever, and they're just going to go right out. Any profit comes back is yours, but the marketing,
you're saying it right there. That's the important part. Any profit that comes back. And I like to tell people all the time, nobody's making any money over here. More people are trying to get their book published, make the dream happen, and you're helping them do this. So, you guys, that's what you support, because dude, the bigger guys are the ones making the money. They're the ones that are putting all that stuff in. They're putting the budget for the advertising, doing all that. They make a little bit of money, and even then, the only way they make money is if they sell a load of the stuff.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I think if you like bake in some sort of marketing budget for a little bit, you could get to a certain point, at least maybe make your money back. Maybe you'll be able to get some notoriety somewhere. I think like, us doing this video, these sections of the show, it's gonna help. I think it actually just shows like, hey, they're doing something. It's on video. It's people are hopefully will be interested and just keep on tuning in. For the most part, and then buying and donating or wherever. To keep on continuing the project. It's a grind, but I think it's worth it because it's just fun. At least to me, it's fun.
I think Mark had a lot of fun. Did you? Because it looks like you enjoyed the process.
I did really enjoy it, especially when we started the rehearsals.
Yeah, that was good.
Because when you don't really see it coming together, but then when you hear other people reading the dialogue, I was like, wow, this actually might work. This actually sounds pretty good. And then I started listening to the parts, and then when we did the actual read, I was like, wow, this is pretty darn good. And I listened to it, I'm like, it's really interesting. It's not just me. Like, it does sound pretty interesting. It does sound pretty good. So I was actually impressed. Like, wow, I can't believe that I did that. It's like, I guess when you have like a kid, you're like, wow, my kid did good. I can't believe I did that.
Right. Yeah. And it gets kind of addicting too, because you're like, oh, what's next? What am I going to put on? What are we going to film next? And it's cool because it's your vision and you're seeing it come to life. I mean, the first time I saw my name up on a screen was like, oh, no way. This is so cool. Finally, and it's, I think, a great experience.
I completely agree. Anytime I hear anything with my voice in, I'm like, wait, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I did something. People hired me for that one. Oh man. And Jorge, I know that you've gotten your own books done as well. In this whole process of things, we were just talking about the fact that sometimes you're just trying to get the thing out there. It takes a lot to get to from point A to point B as well. What can you say a little bit about the process?
It's tough, man. It's especially when it comes to, okay, so this is the thing, right? So Mark wrote this book 30 years ago, right? You hired an artist to do it. He did it. Now you got to get a colorist, you got to get a letterer. Fast forward to 30 years now, it's like, okay, now there's a thing called crowdfunding. Now we got to figure that out. Now you got to figure out how to sell my book on a crowdfunding platform so that people support it, and how to think outside the box of just here's the book, buy it, right? So you go and you hook up with Lee. Lee says, dude, we can do this. So the process, as fun as it is, it's hard work. It's really, really hard work. Like Mark, you were just saying, you went to bed at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Just trying to set everything up, making sure you were crossing the T's, dotting the I's, so that when it does go live, there isn't like this big catastrophic thing where it doesn't launch, like what happened to me on my campaign.
That was the best part of that live stream. I gotta tell you.
I was live. I hit the button to go live, and it doesn't go, and it's like I was sweating. I was like, what the hell? Thank God Daphne Lage came through. She knew, she's done so many campaigns on Kickstarter. Right. She kind of was able to go behind the scenes and kind of, but these are the things that you're hoping, that don't happen. It worked out for me, you know what I mean? But it's nerve-wracking, man. But that's part of the process, and that's part of, like, I guess, the fun of it. You look back at that and you laugh. Oh, that was funny. But when it's happening, when it's happening, it's not very funny when it's happening. But now you look like that was kind of cool,
That's so funny.
That must have been a moment, though. All right, here we go, folks.
Here we go. It was a long moment. It was a long moment. Man. Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know if it's gonna work when I hit the button. I guess we're gonna find out.
Fingers crossed. We'll get there.
Oh my God. Hopefully it works. When do you want to hit the button? That's the question.
How long is your show?
We still got another 30 to 45 minutes to go. So
you want to do it now? You want to?
It could be another 5 hours. We could stay here until 6 a.m. and you launch it then.
Damn.
I think some of us will be dead by.
Listen, I've done 5-hour streams. I'm down for it.
Well, you can stay on.
Stay on.
It's already past my bedtime.
All right, Mark.
Let's play
me and Jordan just sitting here talking about Destiny 2.
We'll play the video. I'll hit the button while the video is playing. I'll send you the link, and then we'll be live. That's the plan.
Let's go.
Press the button.
Designated, issue 1, page 1, establishing shot. We visit the planet Alpha 7 in the around the planet, along with the sun. Space is seen in the peace warlords and the warlike Duronians have torn it apart. On the planet, we visit an old alien castle. From the looks of it, the surrounding area has just seen a great battle. Lots of destroyed ships, tanks, and smoldering ash cover the area. The castle itself is worn, but has no battle damage. Inside the throne room, King Tesson is standing on a throne room's balcony, surveying the key for 100 years. So grand entrance doors to the room open as Futak, the king advisor, rushes in.
Your Majesty, I've just received information that the Duronians are planning another attack.
Calm yourself, Futak. We will repel this attack just as we've done with all the others.
But the report attack will have the full force of the entire army.
There's
more. King Brigham himself will lead the attack.
That's insane. Why would he?
The king walks past Futak towards the grand doors.
Sire.
Summon the designated. Have them meet me in the power chamber.
The king leaves Futak standing in the throne room by himself.
I fear the worst.
Inside the power chamber, which has 3 floors, a different color light on each floor, there is a transport chamber and a power core. 4 lone scientists, the king, and well-armed elite soldiers gather around a lighted chamber with 3 tubes in it. 5 soldiers stand at attention behind the king and head scientist. Futak is there too.
As you requested, sire, we've prepared to remove the star fragments from the power core. But I must implore you to...
Remove it!
But sire, removing our newest and best power sources at a time like this is...
Silence! These fragments are not just a new power source. They are, in fact, much more.
Yes, but we have just only begun our research. Taking away such a find is...
Remove the fragments.
The head scientist presses some buttons on a nearby panel. Then the tube starts to descend into the ground. There's some
Access
smoke
granted.
surrounding the center tube, and when it clears, we see a metal staff that holds 5 star fragments in place. They're about the size of diamonds you see on an expensive engagement. The king, who is visibly upset, turns towards the head scientist.
Where is the 6th piece?
Cutting into the Forlon lab, we see a room full of British Duronians standing over dead Forlon scientists. A transport portal is behind them in the research room. There was one remaining scientist, and he gives King Brigand of the Duronians the 6th fragment. The king has an overpowering presence. The king nods to one of his men, who then kills the last Forlon scientist. Back into the power chamber, King Tesson turns towards the 5 members near him.
You, my designated, are entrusted with the safekeeping of these star fragments. I fear that King Brigand has learned about our recent discovery and will stop at nothing to acquire it.
The leader of the chosen few steps forward.
Sire, we have yet to fail you, but even we can't withstand the full force of the Duronian army.
Your mission will take you far away from the line of battle. I want you to take these fragments and hide them so even I won't know their location.
Just then, the doors to the top floor of the chamber blast open. The Duronians enter the chamber, and King Brigand leads them. In his hand is a 6th fragment, glowing brightly.
Destroy the generators! Kill them all and bring me those fragments!
On the main floor, everybody is running everywhere.
They must have found a way to penetrate our shields.
The designated take the fragments right from the metal staff.
You have your orders. Protect the fragments at all costs.
To the Halle!
King Brigand starts making his way to the main floor. The designated start to leave the chamber. Some Duronians are destroying the generators.
Their defenses have fallen. Let the slaughter begin.
Portals are opening up all over the entire chamber, letting in more Duronians. At the same time, reinforcements from King Tesson arrive. There's a lot of fighting and killing. The designated are leading through an unoccupied corridor. King Brigand sees them leave the chamber. There you
That
go.
was impressive, man.
That
That was
was
really
dope.
impressive.
That was
From the
really,
first
really good.
voice I heard, I was like, whoa. Dude, the whole time I'm thinking, man, maybe we should have Mark be the DM and we can do a Dungeons and Dragons.
So I got to give credit once again to our graphic designer, Abby Gabato. She did all that. She did the title. She did the little graphics. She did everything. She put the music together, everything. I mean, Lee was the director. He wrote the script. We filmed it, but then they're the one that did all the editing, all the little things that you don't think you need. She did everything. So I want to shout out with her and her assistant, Nacho. Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Dude, they deserve a lot of props. That was amazing. It took us a while to get back because I was like, that's it? Wait, I thought it was more.
That's it. 4 minutes. That's it.
You have to tune in next week, right? Or something like
that.
Yeah,
tune in next week, yeah.
That was a lot already. I was like, wait a minute. Wait. That was it? They didn't feel like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
the fact that was it the sound effects and the things that was all Lee picked all those out. We worked tirelessly as to what they should sound like, and then I had to go over all of it, figuring exactly where it was gonna go, and that was very hard.
Yeah. The whole sound mixing, the whole sound design is really tough.
That's awesome, dude.
You know, but it's kind of fun because you're looking for these cool like sound effects and like a score, you know, and there's just a lot out there you can find, which is great, you know. So and it's royalty free. You don't have to worry about it. So
Did you guys do that all in one take or?
So we did one read. And then we did a second read just in case. But before that, so normally, as most people know, when you make a TV show, you shoot the stuff, and then afterwards, if there's any dialogue that's missing or there's any problems, they go back and they do the ADR.
Right.
So we did the ADR first. So we had everybody record their lines first, just in case there was an issue, so that way they can slap it on top of the video of all of us together.
Oh,
so
cool.
we recorded all the dialogue first, and then we recorded it, and then we recorded it again. And then, as you can see, we put the edits on there. It's not 100%, but you know, for what we did, It was pretty darn good.
Dude, that was just some brilliant ideas there. As a sound guy, that's a brilliant idea. Because sometimes the sound is what gets you.
Yeah, it sounds a killer. Yeah, no, it was good because you want to. It also gave the actors an kind of an option or an idea of what the script was about without having everybody around them, and kind of like find their voice a little bit, So that was kind of cool. We got to direct them in the ADR version of it, and then they got the good feel of it when they actually did the read with everybody, with the whole cast. So that was kind of cool.
Amazing. And of course, as you can see, it's up on Crowdfundr. And
the button worked.
It's actually easy to work with this thing. I was on already trying to check out how you would be supporting this thing. And when I was on, this thing just like press the button here and boom, you're over here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that's just amazing to me because with Kickstarter, it's not like that.
I love that you have the option to pick it up in person. Like if you get you know what I mean? Like if you've pledged to like a physical tier, you can pick it up in person. You don't have to.
I'll give you an address. You show up. Here you go.
I like
be
that
like
idea.
under a bridge or something. Here you go. Slide it on there.
I see you got a bunch of options here for a bunch of different things too as well.
Yeah. So we did a lot of stuff from the Crowdfundr campaign, the Kickstarter campaign. We moved it over. Added a couple extra things, like the prints. We added the trading cards. We have more trading cards. We have a second variant cover by Russ Braun, who's most famous for working on the Boys comic.
Nice.
And if you remember, there was a Batman book called Venom, which was introduced the stuff that became Bane.
Yeah.
He worked on that. And he also happened to be my teacher when I went to the comic book school. So I've known him for quite some time.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
So we're still working on the coloring of the cover, but the cover will be colored. I made sure I put that in bold. The final cover.
You're right here. Final cover will be in color.
And then we have the Francesco variant, which has all the characters. But I felt that the Natasha, which is the main lead, the female lead, should be the main cover.
That makes sense, yeah. Dude, yeah, this looks fantastic. I like the little bits and pieces you've added here, and a lot of like incentives for you to get a lot of the book in a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
of course, we like our little Shadow Rabbit tier right here.
Yes, so we have
awesome.
the 6-inch character, which is like this right here, 6 inches right here.
It is huge in Japan.
Hold on, I'll put you on, Mark. Hold on.
That's so cool.
So this is 6 inches of a character. I mean, obviously, it'll be somebody from the book.
We call that
really
6
cool.
inches of Mark Torres.
Custom made, whatever position you want.
Mark Torres is giving out a nice little Shadow Rabbit exclusive.
And I have the other one here. Hold on.
Can we get it for $2?
You can try. It won't let
can't
you.
be as lucky as Jordan.
It's an old joke, Mark.
Oh, that's I remember this one.
That's cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Shadow Rabbit does some
This
great
is-
work.
So why don't you talk about your creative work there, Lou Shadow Rabbit?
Go ahead, Shadow.
Tell us how we can get
What
things
are
for
you
$2.
offering?
Man, I am offering whatever I can do to help Mark Torres get designated out there to the peoples. It's going to be a fun ride, reading his story. Hopefully we can get the artwork colored in too, and yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting couple months for you, man. I'm really excited for it.
I definitely agree. Of course, we know Shadow Rabbit does some amazing work. If you want to go check out Mr. Shadow Rabbit's stuff, you can go check out his Instagram, and you can see all the amazing things that Shadow Rabbit himself does. Of course, Mark just showed 2 of those pieces right there that are just like fantastic. Oh wait, he's showing off his little Pikachu.
What's also cool is that on
That one's
Crowdfundr,
50
it gives
cents,
you
right?
the ability to put a link. So on the Crowdfundr for his tier, there's an actual link that takes you right to his page.
Oh, here we go.
So
You went from 50 cents to $50.
That's amazing.
Let's see what I'm.
Yo, there's Darkrai. Let's go.
Look at that.
Yeah, Shadow Rabbit's been working on his Pokemon.
Those are 6 inches or 12.
These are like 5.
Those are so 5-6 inches. So that right there was it $200, I believe, is the asking price.
Yeah. It's, hey man, that's the thing, and that's what I appreciate about you guys too. Is it's all the passion that comes first, and I think that's why Designated specifically. It's gonna. I hope it hits hard with people. It's something you've been working on for 30 years, and I know the finances and everything are a huge part in getting anything you care about out, but I think what's endearing is that it really is a passion piece, and I think that shows. And, just the joy you guys are showing, getting to read the lines from it is more than enough to excite me, and I've seen more of the book than that, so hopefully that translates to everyone else. Netflix,
So Mark,
come on, baby.
Just let me know when the next
We
one
need
comes
something
out.
good for
we'll play
once.
it here again too.
So the next video should be every Monday because it's 30 days, so like 4 weeks. So next one will be on the 13th, I believe.
All right,
Yeah.
Nice.
Can't wait to see it. That one already sounded good. I'm telling you, I was impressed from the first voice I heard. Usually when it comes to these types of productions, they don't come out like that. I can tell you that much.
Well, that's the benefit of having a full-time director here who knows some real actors.
I was about to say, Lee, you did a great job at putting that together.
Thanks. Well, I couldn't do without Mark, the Mr. Creator there. So, we're all good.
And I gotta admit, Mark, your reading was great. So, sometimes when we read stuff, it gets kind of dry.
that's years of practice right there. 30 years of reading stuff.
I like the JD's voice.
Oh
what he did with that was cool. He got into character, like he totally changed. Yeah, that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should hear the rehearsal. He did it sounded like a Dracula type guy. I was like, no, don't sound like Dracula.
That's right. He had like a Russian and Dracula accent or something, right?
He gave you options. The man gave you options,
Yeah,
bro.
he did.
That's amazing.
He was out of everybody, I think he was the most excited.
Yeah.
I was mentioning it in passing. He's like, I want to do it. I was like, all right,
I'm in.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Does it make you want to do some live action stuff, Mark? Doesn't it make you want to just do like some kind of show or something? It's crazy. It looked really good.
So, I mean, the part of the video that part of the idea was our co-host Elman Jenny Feldy. She was like, you should do it on video and record it, and then use the recording, because the idea was that we were just gonna do a live table read at some other time at the MCon.
Right.
So the video portion of that was her idea, and so we are gonna have it in front of a live audience, and that I'm looking forward to see if we get the reactions that I think we're gonna get.
Right.
That's because it's a live. People, get that feedback. If you make a joke and then they don't laugh, like, oh, this ain't good. Or, right, exactly what is it going to be? So that's the next step. This will be after the book is done, because the MCon is on the 22nd and 23rd of April. The book will be shipped out because it's pre-orders. So it's not like if we make the money, it's pre-orders. You can pre-order your book now. And the books are going to be shipped, I believe, the week after or the week before, like the end of April. So I should have some books at the convention as well, so that way people can buy it and they go watch us, read it, they can see the differences and pick it out.
That's just the fact that you're doing this at MCon, live in front of an audience is just amazing. Because the video itself already is amazing. So I'm already anxious and excited to see how this is going to look like at MCon.
Me too.
we have no idea. I've never done anything like this before. Lee, have you done anything like this before?
Not a live audience in front of the audience thing. So It's good. It's good. We're gonna learn a lot of good stuff, here. So it's gonna be cool. I think, the good thing is, the actors are great. They're gonna read the script. It's not like, nothing has to be memorized. We don't have, it's gonna be just straight through. We'll have the cool sound effects going, and it should be fun, man. It's just gonna be a fun time.
I completely agree. Do you know what the dates are for MCon?
23rd, 22nd, 23rd of April.
And you guys are going to do the read on both days or just one of the
One of the 2 days. He has not made the schedule yet, so we're not sure which day it is. I asked him today. He's like,
This sounds like Kelly. Tony, you were going to say something?
He is saying something, but we can't hear him.
Are you still on mute, Tony? I don't think he is.
No, let's see.
Doesn't look like it.
Look muted.
He might be lagged out.
Yeah, it might be lagged out. It
anyone
took him a
read
long time
lips?
to register. Look, he's frozen again. That's why we call him Roaming Tony. That's not why we call him Roaming.
If you type what you want to say, one of us will read it.
Yes, Tony, if you do type it in the private chat over there, we can actually say what you're saying. I don't think I can hear your voice.
Capcom is one of the best companies ever. They made Mega Man. How could you not say that? Oh, that's an old conversation. Never mind.
Okay, now you're muted.
All right, now press the unmute.
We're here live, folks.
Don't you love live shows? One of the things that is, there we go. Tony, talk.
No, he has no audio.
Yes, can you hear me?
Gone.
Hey, I heard
go.
something.
There it goes.
Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, don't worry. I can translate for him. He's saying, how could Capcom make Monster Hunter even better in a tactical RPG? I can't believe this is completely goated with the sauce.
Go ahead.
No.
No.
I'm not saying whatever he said. Yeah, I'm saying it has like a big stage room. So hear me?
What Tony's talking about there is that the library has this beautiful stage room, and that's where you guys are going to do it, right, Mark?
Oh,
Yes, correct. We're on a big stage.
I'll type it.
Yes, there we go.
Dude, I love that stage room, man. That's where you did your interview with the guys from Team Rocket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go on to the MCon Anime Fest YouTube page, you can see that. I think I also have it on our page for the Pokemon stuff that we did. I love talking to those guys. Those guys are really great, and they've been doing it for years. And now that Pokemon is over, it's crazy. If you think about it, you had a job for 25 years. Now you don't have a job no more.
That's kind of
Well,
sad. Yeah.
Pokemon, the anime's still going on. It's just not with those characters.
Yeah. See, but that's the sad part. Those characters have been with us for 25 years. Oh man, and I know that we can mention it here because I know that they have a GoFundMe page for
James Carter Cathar.
There you go. Go ahead, Mark. You can go ahead and let the people know what's going on.
I believe he has throat cancer, and actually, I put out to let people know. But he's like, they just want support and love. They don't need any financial at all. Just give him the love and support because he's doing some treatments for his throat cancer that he has. So I was like, oh, that's cool, man.
That's good.
Best wishes that he has a full recovery.
All right, guys. So let's send them blessings. We of course we love our Team Rocket, and we want them to be around for much longer.
How much stuff are you typing?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is Tony stuck over there? Is he saying a big thing? Is he sending it? Wait, did you send it to the private chat or did you send it
There's
to
nothing there. I don't see anything.
Let's see here.
Rage check.
Capcom agreeing to do work with Hypergrip is completely insane. I can't believe this. How could they destroy my beloved games like
Oh my god.
Mega Man and Street Fighter? I can't believe this. This is completely 0 KOs out of 10.
My Facebook's not open, so if he sent it over there.
He said Raid Shadow Legends is a
Well, I
free
can't hear you,
mobile.
so no matter what you say.
Oh no, I guess Tony, you said what you were gonna say because we were looking for like some kind of typed up thing over here.
Tony says Hogwarts Legacy is an epic game. I can't believe people were
okay.
hating on it.
Oh,
It was a lot of fun. I want to play it every day.
No, that's me.
Oh my god.
You know what?
Folks. This is us. So,
no, hide that, Jordan. Hide that. Hide that.
Oh my god.
Let them come.
Hide it, Jordan.
They already closed down the Twitch seeking website.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop them. I mean, they just went after Babish, and all he did was make a full English breakfast.
You were gonna say, Mark?
He says, I was just going to talk about the stage room at MCon. So, yeah, we covered it. It's a beautiful stage, brand new, renovated stage at the East Middle Public Library. They actually started the renovation before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic, they fixed it up real nice. In addition to the stage, they also did the front of the building, the parking lot. They did a lot of renovations for that place.
Looks beautiful, man. They did a good job of fixing it. And of course, we like the East Meadow because they do a lot of stuff, and it's amazing to see the libraries doing these conventions now because it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, the MCon, this is 13 years, I believe he said, and they were the first library convention. You think about a working library and a convention at the same time, you think that wouldn't work because libraries supposed to be quiet and conventions you're not quiet.
No,
but they made it work. And it's grown ever since.
Yeah, it's an amazing one. If you guys get a chance, go check out MCon. You guys heard the date. And while you're there, check out, of course, the whole read for Designated. And before you do that, why don't you just go support Designated and get this book funded because it's already made and ready to go. It just needs the money to get it into your hands.
Yep. Buy the book, pre-order it now. Pre-order it now, right now.
Exactly, right now. I put the link in the comment section. Go check it out. Go support. Come on, people.
So, Mark, talk a little bit about what the book is about for those who maybe never heard of what Designated is.
So people who missed the radio play,
Well,
there is two warring alien races, and they are fighting over a newly discovered power source, as you heard. And the good aliens take the fragments and they run away to Earth. And of course, our young heroes get mixed up in it, and they get powers as a result of some shenanigans that the aliens do to them by implanting the crystals in their head.
And right now, you have all the issues already made. They're just ready to go. You just need to get the money to print them up.
Yeah, so it's a full story, beginning, middle, end. I did leave it open-ended at the end of the story, but it is beginning, middle, end. If it never happens anything beyond that, you're good. You're like, all right, it's good. Everybody's happy. You don't need to. It's not a cliffhanger. It's a full story with the 5 characters. And because I wrote it in the 90s, it was very 90-ish, but kind of ahead of its time at the same way because I have a multi-ethnic cast. A female lead, which wasn't a thing back in the 90s. That was just starting out, like Xena and Buffy. Nobody really heard about on a regular basis a female lead, or especially a female lead with an Asian American guy and an African American guy. Nobody had that except for Power Rangers, and it wasn't a thing. Like they didn't make it a thing that we got a black guy here. We got no, it wasn't that. It was just people. Because growing up, that's what I was around. So that's what I figured I would do. People I know, I put them all in there and gave them the little superpowers. And at the time, the 90s, if for those of you who remember, in comics, everything was going to the extreme, going far out. It became super mega powerful, what have you. Mm-hmm. So with these characters, the idea was to go opposite and have a very low-key stuff. So their powers really don't there's not a lot of smoke and mirrors to it. One of them has the strongest power, but realistically, the female lead, she has like a kind of like an intuition power, which doesn't really manifest. It's just she just does stuff. It's like if you listen to your gut. Everybody has that voice in their head that tells you something, and then like 10 minutes later you don't listen to it, and something bad goes wrong. It's stronger, and she actually does listen to it. We have the male lead, which is Adam. He has mind over matter, so he's as strong as the strongest upper limit human person right now. Like if you go and find out who can lift the most, he can lift that much. He's not like super strong. He can just lift as much as the strongest person can. Or as run as fast as I always say Usain Bolt. That's the fastest guy right now running around that we know of. He's as fast as him. So he's not like super speed. He's just really athletic and fast. Then we have the other girl, which is Kelly, and she has emotional manipulation and redirection. So because she is a 16-year-old female, and even though we're a whole bunch of guys here, we all know that a teenage girl at that age may be a little emotional. How old is your daughter, Lee?
15. Going on 25.
Am I correct in that assessment?
Yeah, you gotta tiptoe a little bit. Yeah, tiptoe.
So, because of that, I gave her the ability to absorb and redirect the strongest emotion in an area. So, like, if there is something scary that's going on and somebody's really scared, she will feel that and become as scared as that person is, and then everybody else will also feel that scared. Or if someone's really mad, and she just starts getting mad for no apparent reason because she's absorbing, and then she redirects it to everybody in the immediate area. And then we have Chris, the African American guy. He has the ability of mega memory. So that was something that I saw on a show called John Doe in the 90s.
I remember John Doe.
Yeah, and what made him interesting is that he wasn't smart. He just remembered everything. That was a really cool distinction. I was like, it's not that you're smart. It's that you just read a whole bunch of stuff and you remember what you read. You don't know it, but you remember it. Right. So that's what his power is. He can just remember everything. And actually, I know there's an actual term for that. The actress Mary Lou Henner has that like super photographic memory, but it's like,
that's right, I forgot about that. Yeah,
so this is like, it's like one step. So if Mary Lou Henner actually remembers every single thing she's ever done in her entire life, and it's a condition that you can do that. It's like, what were you doing on, it's great for an alibi. But
are you sure of that? Well, I got some memory.
So he has that ability. And then the youngest kid, Ed, he has the ability of astral projection and what was the other one? Energy manipulation. So basically, I described it back then as the power of wish, because kids have that underdeveloped mind, and their imaginations can really do more things than an adult imagination can. So he can manifest certain things out of thin air because he just kind of wants it, because that's what kids do, except that his imagination is real. But one of the other things I did was that each character, most of the time, is when they're under duress.
Dude, when you came up with the powers for the character, did you just come up with the powers for the characters, or did you have your story set and you figured this powers work for this story?
So when I came up with the idea of the powers, usually, as for what I understand, whenever you make a superhero character, you go, what's their name? What's their costume? What can they do?
Exactly.
So when I came up with the idea, I was like, all right, I'm going to have a story. How did they get their powers? So everything was because of the gems were planted in their mind. I figured it was a connection of some type of mind-based powers.
Right.
So mind or matter, your gut instinct, the imagination, memory, emotions, that's all in your mind. So from there, I was like, all right. Then I kind of just fine-tuned it a little bit from that idea. So I already knew the powers where they derived from, and then that's where the power list came from that, how they got it.
That's good, because I've seen some people just like throw willy-nilly the powers in and then figure out the story after that, or they have a story and then the powers are thrown willy-nilly. And you're like, did you think about this before you... Yeah. All right, it so happened that the powers do this and this and this, right? But you don't use any of those powers in the story.
Thinking of that kind of stuff, it was really weird because the story is for the most part, it's a very self-contained story. It only happens like a couple hours of a time frame.
Right.
So a lot of things that just kind of happen just are happening, and then because I wrote their powers, I had to think of why they can or why they can't use their power.
Right.
And I made sure I didn't give them time to be able to really figure out stuff or really be able to manifest stuff, because I always find that as usually goes, when the characters are learning about their abilities, usually the best parts of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're gonna mess up, they're gonna do stupid things, stuff is gonna happen. It's almost like when you're playing D&D and you roll that one. It's funny because Mr. Jordan Hagar here is like, oh wow, it's Mark Torres from
Yes.
So you really
taking my old joke now, Jordan, too.
Yeah.
So Mark, you really thought all this stuff out.
All my old jokes.
Worked it, and you've crafted this, and you've thought about all the story aspects and all the world building aspects for a while there.
Yeah. When I thought of it, you kind of want to have backstory. You kind of want to have an idea of where you're going with the story. So I made the story, and one of the things that my critical mind has been doing over the years, whenever I watch anything, I want things to make sense. And the more I've watched more stuff, the more critical I've become. I would think that the movie Independence Day really did me in. Before then, I was like, yeah, whatever. But then I'm watching Independence Day, and it was a great movie. But then when we watched it the second time, I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Fire doesn't. It's supposed to bend into where the dog should have died. I keep on watching. I was like, that dog should have died because the fire was in the tunnel, and there was a door, and the dog jumped in with a Vivica Fox to get from the explosion of the laser. And the fire just went straight, but it was an open door, so the fire should go in and kill them. And then I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then later on in that movie, when they were escaping in the alien ship, and don't get me started on how the computer.
I like how the aliens do binary code.
Yeah, exactly. So when they're escaping in the ship, right, they're going full speed. The doors are closing. They narrowly escape, and then the bad guys smash into the door. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. If they know they're going at that speed, they know they're going to hit it. Why would they go that fast? These are small little things. And over years, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. So I wrote the story, and then I put it away because, like I said, it wasn't happening.
Right.
Then when the opportunity...
You see, Ralph, I'm not alone in this thinking, though.
Exactly, yeah.
See, he complained... This man right over here complained that I don't like anything. No, it's just that it doesn't make sense.
Legitimate reasons for things. Mr. Contrarian over there just hates things because he hates things.
No. I'm in the same boat as Mark.
So
this is the whole reason why I didn't even like the new Godzilla movie. See?
So when I revisited the story, my critical mind kicked in, and I'm reading. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why did they do that? Why did they do this? And as I read it, I answered all my questions. And I was like, holy crap. I actually did a good job because I satisfied myself all these questions. There was one big thing that reading it back, that I realized that I missed. And because the story is kind of tight and it's already done, I can't go back and fix it. But in the back of my head, I already crafted an answer. So if anybody says, hey, what about this? I'm like, aha, I know the answer. But I'm not going to say it because then people are going to look for it.
That's true. People are going to. Okay, so Mark said that. See, what you're talking about though is the stuff you're supposed to do in writing. You're supposed to be sit there, look at what you're doing, answer those questions, or make sure that your questions are answered before you put the thing out there. Most writers will do this, but a lot of writers will sit there and go, it doesn't matter.
Hey, Mark, so I have a question about the stones or the gems, right? So do they have a different power in space than they do once they come to Earth?
Ooh.
Or are they always mind kind of like powers even out there?
They're always mind based. Little advanced spoiler. In one of the future issues, the aliens try to implant it into their minds first, and they have powers that are different, but they're also mind powers. I think one had like telekinesis or something, and it killed them. It was a adverse reaction. So that's why they don't have it in them. They have to put it in humans because they didn't kill them in the humans.
Oh.
That's a good reason, actually. Well, we tried it on us and it killed us, so that's why we put it.
Yeah, that was just one of those things. Like, well, why wouldn't they do it on themselves first?
Exactly.
Why would they do this? Why is this? Why is that? It's a lot of whys, and I think I answered all of them, which I was pretty darn proud of myself.
I completely agree with you. I feel like more people should do this, and I think we'd have better movies.
Yeah.
But to be fair, when the adaptation comes, there were certain things that Lee wanted to get rid of, and I was like, you can't get rid of that because of this reason. And he's like, oh, all right. Like, it doesn't make any other sense beyond the fact that I had to explain why.
Right.
But otherwise, you can throw it out. And we had Happy Death Day. The guy who wrote Happy Death Day, Scott Lobdell. He said that he wrote some stuff, and then when it got adapted, the first rule of making a movie is you fire the writer. You get it away from the writer as much as possible. See, he's thinking that's what you do.
That's true. It's a truth story.
So he's like, when they adapt stuff, he's not around to be like, well, this needs to be. He's like, oh, that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the idea guy at first, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's a couple of bucks, see you later, kid. And that's it, and you're like, hope it comes out good. I mean, I've had that on just indie films. It's kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna give them the movie and they'll give me a couple bucks. But yeah, after a while it's just somebody who has more money, a producer or someone who's going to distribute, director, whoever is going to make those edits and stuff like that. Not necessarily good ones, sometimes not so great, but sometimes very good, improving. But it's you got to hope that your vision's going to come out the way you think, and that's why it's good with the books and stuff that you can kind of it is your vision and you're going to put it your way the whole way through. There's no one, unless you're in a big house and they're going to edit it, it's your book. You're going to get it the way you want to, and you're going to have it illustrated the way you want to and want it to. And with movies, it's definitely very different. So,
but it's so funny though, because what ends up happening usually, and a good percentage of the time, is that the changes that are made kind of destroy the story, and
yeah. So that's the thing; it could destroy the story. But that's the other part, is that you might, as the writer, say for film, have all those answers in the script. But when they adapt it to the film, they cut out scenes that just don't make sense, and then it just doesn't make sense when you're watching it. So the answer may be there, but it's just not on. It's in the cutting room floor. So that's the thing, you provide the best and answer every question that you have in your head, and and it's just interpreted different by other people. I've had many times where I've had written dialogue where somebody just interpreted it very differently than what I intended. Not that it was bad, or anything like that, but it's just different. Like we were talking about, with Mark's, with the video, we think there's going to be a part where there's going to be like a really good laugh. We don't know if it's going to be a good laugh. We hope, and I've seen that in my films. I'm like, oh, this is funny, and nobody laughed at all, in the audience. And then some other part where I was like, that's not funny at all, but they're all cracking up, and you're just like, all right, I guess I just, you just don't know at some point.
It's just the way it is. Of course, there's Cadma on the side messing with Mark, going, "Hi, Mark."
Sometimes different audiences laugh at different things.
That's true too.
I've seen that.
Yeah, you just hope they're laughing with you.
Hey Lee, can you talk about how timing is when you're making a movie?
What the timing is? What do you mean?
Like when you're making a film, sometimes the timing is different. That's why you have to make edits because of how the movie flows or pacing. That's pacing.
Yeah, I mean the pacing is, well, you hope that with all the dialogue and stuff and the way you're going to film it, the pacing will be okay. you think it's a minute a page basically for that. You hope that's all going to transfer out correctly. A lot of it has to do with the editing. The script itself, you could kind of pace it all out, but once you film it, it looks very different. So you're gonna have to pace it out by editing it and making sure the music comes up right, and just the dialogue hits correctly, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking in for the pacing of the film, the script, when you're directing the script, if you know that it's going to be intense, and fast, you hope that that's going to come through. I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but it's kind of like what I'm thinking of pacing. It's all about timing in general. So, you hope that the dialogue, somebody's going to interrupt the other actor's dialogue and get that hit, right on pace. And it's all rehearsal, it's all in the rehearsal, it's all in the editing at the end. But when I write scripts and just any kind of dialogue, I read it out loud a lot. So I'm kind of acting as every character. I mean, you're probably doing that with your book to a degree, right? It's all in your head. So you just kind of put that vision in there. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not sure if that answers the question, but that's kind of where I'm going with it.
No, it kind of answers the question, because there's a pacing in comics, especially when you know that you have to do an issue and it's certain pages. It's different than doing a graphic novel where you have more room to play in. And then in the pacing in the comic, you need to remember that you're trying to get whatever done by that first issue, and then at the same time set up the next issue, or you don't feel like you got a story cut off. Instead of a nice flow of the story.
Yeah, it's containing it right. I mean, if you could get your points across within a few moments, then you're in good shape, and it doesn't seem like you're getting your point across. It's like hidden messages throughout your, throughout your writing. At least I'm always trying to put a message out there a little bit, and whatever the point is of that at that time, and not necessarily be blunt over your head, knocking it in. So that's how I think of writing and pacing, because it's just, you want to get that point across, but not necessarily banging over everybody's head. It doesn't have to be literal.
So George, has there been a time when you're, as a letterer, you read dialogue and this ain't gonna fit, I have to change it, I have to edit it, I have to fix it to fit in the page?
I do that with my books, because I letter my own stuff, so I constantly change mine. But for example, with yours, for example, right? I can't. I feel unless I have a conversation with you and say, dude, I really cannot fit this anywhere on the page, something's gonna have to go. Let me know what you are okay taking out, and then send it to me again. Other than that, it's my job to figure it out. I feel like as a letterer, it's your job. Here's the script. It's your job to figure it out. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and I think that part of being a letterer is, I think almost like in filmmaking, right? There are certain things you shouldn't notice. If you notice it, then you didn't do a good job. If you notice the lettering in a comic, then you probably, unless you want them to, unless it's a word balloon that you want them to see because it kind of plays with what's going on the page, you normally don't want to notice the letter. You want to know it's there because you're reading it, but you don't want to notice it, if that makes sense. You don't want it to be jarring to the eye. We're oh my God, this looks terrible. You know what I mean? And so I think to me, that's part of it. But yeah, have I had to do that? Yeah, I've had that conversation with somebody dude, it's just, I don't know what happened in the script, but your artist didn't leave you enough room for this stuff, bro. So we're gonna they placed the character right in the center, and there's just tons of dialogue, and it's you should have maybe moved them a little bit to the side to fit all of it. You know what I mean? But a lot of that has to happen in that process too. I think when you're writing and when you're creating a comic, you have to keep in mind that there is dialogue on these pages, and you are going to have to leave space for that dialogue. So when you're designing the page, as an artist, you have to keep that in mind when you're reading the script. I feel almost like blocking in film. I would think, right, Lee? That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you have enough space for the dialogue, especially if you have a paragraph, you know, that you want to put in there, you know. But then it also makes you think. I mean, like, is this line fully necessary? You know, like, you know, like, can I cut it down a little bit? And that's I find is always a challenge of editing your own work, right? So to me, like, it's, you know, I'll read something, I'll be like, I can never like cut this line ever in life, you know, it's mine, you know. It's gonna work. But then you start thinking about it in the big scheme, it's like, this person's gonna say this line or read this line, it's gonna be like 3 seconds. And you're like, you know, does it work right? I mean, like, okay, maybe I should cut, you know, 3 words out of it, you know, and maybe it'll just be even more effective. I don't know.
It's funny, as I've been writing more and more scripts for comics, you start to realize, well, whatever the art is telling this part of the story, so this is not needed anymore.
Right.
I feel like
it's a visual medium, right?
Exactly. If it's in the art and it's already telling it, then I don't need to say that.
Right. Yeah. And that's the challenge, right? You take some like Mark's book and you're like, okay, we're gonna adapt this to video. Like, what should we be cutting here? And you know, yeah, like I might overcut sometimes, and you know, Mark might just say, nope, I need that part, you know. But then when we're doing the rehearsal, we're going through lines, and he's like, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this line anymore, you know, and which is good to recognize, you know what I mean? Like, so like once you start to recognize that stuff, it's like, oh, all right, you know, like this is just going to enhance the project even more, you know, because I recognize that we don't need this. It's in the book, but I don't need it for the visual, you know. I mean, well, for the actual show when you're talking live, because nobody's going to catch on to it, you know.
And the script really was for the penciler. So the script was written for the penciler drawing it, not for anybody else reading it.
True.
So that's another thing. I put in a whole bunch of extra descriptions for the penciler, which, you know, whatever. And it was really interesting seeing as how I was like, I think we need this line. And then after reading it like 5 or 6 times, like, well, that doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't flow, especially when we started doing it with other people. That was the other thing. When we started doing it with other people, and I'm reading the line, and then they're reading their line, and then I go, you know, Natasha and Chris do this, and then they say, Natasha, Chris, I don't need to say Natasha, Chris do this each and every single time, but the penciler would need to know who I'm talking about. So I have to say, Natasha and Chris go walk to the park. Natasha and Chris has to sit on the chair. Natasha and Chris go over there, you know, bend down on the floor, pick up a rock. I have to say it each time so they know who to put into the picture. But in this case, I can just say they, or not even if it's not specifically necessary to what's happening in the script.
Exactly.
So there's one part in the play that I have the character sitting down in the bed, and I was like, that's important because later on she has to get up from the bed, so that has to stay in there. Right. But otherwise, I didn't need it because every other direction that I had in this chunk, I got rid of because they were just having a great back and forth conversation, which I didn't need to interject.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting how that went. I thought that was like the best part of seeing it form.
Yeah. I think it's eye opening, especially when you're like have a whole bunch of people reading your work, you know, and acting it out, and then you start to feel, is this necessary? But it's also exciting because you're like, wow, this is really coming to life. You know, and this is just a way to kind of say like, all right, like for this medium, I don't need it, you know, and for the other medium, I totally need it, you know, and that's what it is. And it's cool. The whole live experience is just, you know, it's just very different. You just, your words come, you know, just pop off the paper, and it's just, you know, other people talking, just saying your lines is just one of the coolest things, you know, and how they interpret it is pretty cool too, because we've also had like where like, I guess pronunciation issues, right? So like we didn't know, like, you know, Dr. Persipicus was like, nobody knew how to say that name, and like, Dr. Persopicus, or, you know, it was just kind of like, right, you just don't know. And it's kind of funny. Even my daughter was just like, she didn't know, for some reason she couldn't get hypnosis right for a while.
I have trouble with regular words. I can't say that.
Right, you know, and that's the thing where it just like trips you up, you know. Some plain words will just be like, what, you know, or the dialogue might be a little too wordy, and they're like, okay, well maybe we could cut this down and change it around a little bit. But it's definitely fun when you start to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
No.
I think what added to that even that video was the music. Like the music playing behind them as they're delivering these lines. It just made it that much more intense. It was pretty good.
Well, folks, we are at the top of our mark here. And speaking of which, we are $42, two contributors, and 31 days to go. So there's a lot of time to get Mark to where he needs to go. And folks, I got to tell you, I was able to do this while I was doing the show, and it was a really easy in and out. I didn't have to sign up for anything. I was able to pay for it, and it was so easily done. You guys didn't even know what I was doing back here on the side.
So you pre-ordered the book? Did you pre-order a book? Is that who's one of those two people?
I'm one of those two people, yeah.
Oh, I thank you. You pre-ordered a book, and you can pre-order your book too. Everybody can pre-order the book. It's coming out at the end of April. The book is coming out at the end of April. I will say that again.
Yeah.
The book is coming out at the end of April.
I'll put two, somebody.
Whether it's color or black and white, that's up to everybody.
I'll put two.
That book is coming out.
I gotta admit, Mark, Crowdfundr really works like you say it does. That was so easy for me to do this. I didn't have to sign up for anything, and you just put in your information and you paid for it. I think the only difference is that they pull the money out of your account right away.
Yep.
So you're actually paying for the book.
Yeah, you're pre-ordering the book. There's none of that stuff. You're pre-ordering the book. That's it. It's coming out end of April. Damn it. Coming out end of April. Pre-order that book. There's no, I hope, we're done. You're going to get a book end of April.
That's awesome.
And you don't even have to pay for shipping.
You can pick it up.
Yep. Come down to the MCon, pick it up right there and there.
That's it. Come to the table.
Yeah.
There you go. There you have it, folks. Go support. This is a great book. As you guys have been hearing, it's a lot of fun. We'll continue to show the live aspect of this because that was amazing. I'm gonna have to go watch it again because I feel like I missed some of it while I was setting things up back here.
And the one thing I always say on the show, if you can't financially support it, share it out there, tell other people about it. You never know who would be interested in this. Just put it out there. It doesn't. You hit that button, press it out, share it out there, let people know about it. You never know. People like aliens. People like a '90s style book, which I have to admit, Lee's seen the pages. George has seen the pages. Lou, I think you've seen the pages. Does it look like it's that old? Does it look like it's a 30-year-old?
No, it does not. It does not. No, it holds up very well, though. It looks really, really good. It looks like it was done like today. Seriously, it really does.
Yeah, I'm just like blown away by how it has held up, and the actual pages look pretty darn good too. Like the original artwork, they're not yellow or anything. They've been preserved for quite some time. So if you order an original page, it looks really, really nice.
But just from what you were describing, Mark, it sounds like you were thinking ahead of the time, I think. And in the designs of the page, it didn't look like your typical 90s comic where Image was just doing all kinds of crazy things with the designs of the pages. You kind of kept it very, hey, listen, we're going to keep it this way. And that's not to say it's boring, because it's not. Like, it's entertaining designs of pages, but it's not that typical Image, everything is cut, the panels are this thin, you know what I'm saying, and they're vertical, right, and everything is jagged edges and looking all crazy and stuff. Like, and I think that's why it holds up, because it's not so 90s, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't have that 90s look. And you did a great job at that. It looks clean, it looks cut. It doesn't look 80s, it doesn't look 90s. It just looks like a comic book.
That was the original penciler, Jade Smith. He was a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine's brother, who I went to high school with, and it was his first time ever doing anything like that. He wanted to draw comics. He did it, and he did all 110 pages over a course of time. So his ability got better as the pages went on, and so much so that I had him go back and redraw certain panels and pages for the first issue. So he drew it, And there was some stuff I was like, yeah. But then I see he gets better. I was like, oh, well, if he's gotten better in this section, go back and redraw some stuff. And he did it. So that's I think it took him 5 years to do it, maybe. I forget how long it took, but it was a while.
There you have it, folks. The link is in the comment section. This book is fantastic. Even though Mark has been working on this for 30 years, it really has a very contemporary feel to it. It's very well written. You guys can see the teleplay or the spoken word aspect of it on the side, and you can actually see that this story is a good story. I gotta admit, it got me revved to see what happens next. I want to see what the next episode is of the reading of the script.
So how much time we have? Because if we have, I can go and pull 2 pages. I can show you guys.
Hey, go ahead, go pull.
All right, hold on. I gotta go get it. Hold on.
While you do that, we'll do what we usually do. All right, guys. What do you guys got to say down there? Anything you guys want to share before Mark comes back? No.
That's funny. I will, but I was waiting to see if anyone else had anything.
Okay, go ahead, Jordan.
All right.
So, March 25th, 26th, Bowling Green, Ohio. I will be at a convention and a marathon. I will be hosting a panel about
criminal
Chunky Kong.
Nice.
So we're gonna find the truths of all the stuff that happened with Chunky, right?
Yes.
The fact that he's actually Arunde, and the fact that he killed. Oh wait, I can't say all that stuff. Never mind.
I will be there. Dirk Manning will be there. It's gonna be a good time. March 24th in the movie theaters. Number 4 comes out.
Oh, cool.
What we're hearing is there's going to be a man in a monkey costume in the middle of Ohio watching John Wick and then proceeding to go in front of a hotel and just stand there till the doors open.
Yes.
There we go.
We're gonna go to watch John Wick 4 as Chunky Kong.
Oh yes, totally. Let's see.
It's casual Ohio stuff, you know?
Less than 48 hours left on Drumsticks of Doom.
So if you go to actually, first I have this is what the print would look like.
Okay, hold on. I'll put
One
you
of
up.
the prints. This is one of the prints we have. This is the virgin
Oh, that's
print
beautiful.
by
That's cool.
Francesco, babe artist Francesco. But if you go to the Crowdfundr page, one of the main images we have is Natasha getting dressed. That's one of the newest images that he did. And that is basically, there's a Xerox, but that is the image that you see. Right?
Oh, it's pretty cool. Wow.
That's the page you actually see on the Crowdfundr.
Yeah.
So this is the new version of what he did. And this here is the
I was gonna say, it looks a
original.
little tweaked.
This is the original version. This was done in 2007, inked in 2007 by Peter Palmiotti. This is the first version of that very same page.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's totally different.
Yeah.
So this was the original that he did, which is decent. It
It is.
tells a story. I like it. But then I was like, when he got better, I was like, hey, can you do a different version? And he came out with this version.
It does splash out better. Yeah.
So even his storytelling ability improved. Like you can just say that the way the room looks,
Yeah.
as opposed to the original, which is flat on image.
I feel like the second one pops more. The new one.
Yeah, so I think that was really cool how he managed to do stuff like that. And this original page is one of the pages you can get.
There you have it, folks.
That's cool.
You can get it yourself in there. There's so many things to do in the Crowdfundr. You guys got to go check it out. Of course, you can get yourself a Shadow Rabbit exclusive. It's a $250 tier, but it's all worth it. Because we
You
know
need to
Shadow
highlight the bananas. You need to highlight the bananas.
Look at Mr. Chunky Kong over here doing his banana. This is what your banana's gonna look like.
So I'm pretty sure I brought it up before, but at the panel we are going to have a shrine built, and people can donate stuff, and that is what the shrine is going to. The shrine is going to be made out of banana boxes.
Banana boxes. Oh my god. It sounds like you're going to be
Are
having
we still on track with the bananas to give away?
Yep, and also Chunky's hit record. And you know what? I'm just going to say it because YouTube allows you to now.
Go for it.
The album is called "Fuck Diddy Kong." That dude still owes me $20.
Let's go. This is a real album, and it sounds just as you would imagine it.
Yep, it's a real album. Nathan has listened to probably most of the track list. So
I would just say, hearing him sing "iCarly" is probably one of the best songs.
I heard that one. Yeah, I heard that song. the iCarly theme. I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Anybody else got something to say?
All 110 pages in here. That's all I gotta say about it.
If you're in Toledo, Ohio this weekend, go and see Dirk Manning in downtown Toledo. Where? I can't remember. It's called Fantasticon.
Fantasticon. It's
just yeah, no, it's at the Seagate Center. So it's at,
Yeah, Dirk's busy as heck.
Yeah, go see Dirk Manning this weekend. Go see two of the main voice actors from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Yeah.
All there with you. And are you hitting all these shows, or you're trying to save your money for your specific?
I'm just waiting for the big one later this month.
I didn't know you had so many cons in your area.
Yeah, we've been used to.
I was gonna
He's
say,
part of the Northern Anime Circuit. There's a lot of anime cons up there.
It was funny because I was supposed to head off to your direction because I have friends that live up somewhere, and I was gonna go. I might as well go and check out some cons. When I did, it was like 2 cons. I was like, okay, that was a couple of years ago.
Well, I mean, there was the one
Comic Cons though.
I mean, there was the one that Dirk was just at last weekend, but that's like 2-3 hours away in Livonia, Michigan.
No, a lot of these cons are more recent. When I was looking at that, it was a bunch of years ago already.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Nat, you got something?
All right. So there is fried burgers, but then there's also fries that are put inside burgers. Personally, I'm a fried burger type of guy, but I wouldn't be opposed to having fries inside my burgers. Hot take, but I think fries inside your fried burger is just as valid and just as tasty.
Oh my god!
Wait, so they have the fry and then they put the meat around the fry and then they fry it?
So they get the French fries and they turn those effectively into patties by frying the French fries, then making those as like the buns, and then they deep fry the whole burger again.
Oh gosh. That sounds amazing, right?
That sounds
crazy. It does sound. It sounds interesting.
It sounds greasy.
I mean, I had the macaroni and cheese cheeseburger. So if I could eat that, that's not like something on the line.
I've had that before too.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good.
Did you ever have a stuffed macaroni and cheese cheeseburger?
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah.
Stuffed? No, I don't think I have had a stuffed.
Yeah, they have it.
I had one where like the top layer was like mac and cheese, and then there was the meat, and then everything else underneath it.
Right, that's the mac and cheese cheeseburger, but this is a stuffed mac and cheese cheeseburger.
So
it's inside the meat. It's in Astoria. It's listed as like one of the best burger joints in Queens.
Oh, where they put the cheese inside the meat?
Yeah.
They put the macaroni and cheese inside the meat, and then they slap the macaroni and cheese on top.
Dude,
all right.
That sounds interesting. And it's in Astoria? All right, Lou, we're heading in your direction.
Lou. Yeah.
All right, so Nat, anything else you got to say?
Go follow Floofsmallow, aka the resident artist of the Bitten Apple. She is working on some stuff. These pins are coming to your doorstep hopefully later this month if shipping goes according to plan. But amazing artist. Give her some support. Give her some love. Follow her on Instagram and Facebook. Floofsmallow.
There you have it. And of course, the pins with Bitsy Tandem. Bitsy does some amazing stuff. Go check her out as well. Mr. Tony, what do you got?
Raid Shadow Legends.
Talking to me?
Yes, you.
Raid Shadow Legends is probably his favorite game now ever since he picked it up later this year. That he has grinded close to 25,000 hours into the game and would highly recommend it to all people.
And if you use
Go ahead, Tony. If you can hear us.
Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we translated everything you just typed out. Don't worry about it. We got you.
Oh, okay. Okay. I have nothing to push, so don't. I have nothing to push.
Effort.
All that
Tomorrow's actually. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I got none.
All right. Shadow, what do you got?
Same as always, man. Tip your waitresses and keep supporting our boys, independent artists, and anyone doing their thing, trying to make their dream a reality, man. Make the world a better place like that.
Exactly. All right, gentlemen. What do you got to say? What's your final word? Well, any of you can start first. Mark.
Well, it's your show. You tell who to speak.
Okay, Mark, you go first.
I say thank you for letting me be on the show. I really appreciate everybody in the panel. Jordan, I really appreciate you from before. You're a really cool guy. Oh, holy crap. Look at that. Moving up.
We got movement, folks.
Let's go.
As I mentioned before, this is a pre-order, so the book will come out. It all depends on if it's color or black and white. Right now, it's a black and white book. If you like this Aliens, if you just watch the play and you think it sounds something like you want to check it out. If you can't afford it, just let people know about it. Tell everybody else about it. The book will come out in April. And if we make a big gangbusters of money, you can get a second, a third, fourth, or even all 5 issues. I'm going to put that out there. There is that possibility. But right now, you can get yourself a book. It's ready to come out at the end of April. George and Lee, I thank you very much for your contribution on the book and the radio play.
All right, George.
Yeah, no, you guys, thank you so much for having me on the show again. I appreciate you. This is amazing. Mark, thank you for letting me be a part of the book. Lee, good meeting you guys and everybody down here in the chat. If you guys want to check some of my stuff out, you can go to my website at getyourmeds.com. You can follow me on Instagram you see my handle there at get_your_meds. Check out some of my stuff. I have a book called The Adventures of Wonder Duck. I have a book called Bus 5377. And I do a podcast called Catch the Craze that comes out on Tuesday nights. So check me out there. But that's it, man. Thank you so much again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, we love Jorge here. He's always a great guest. Go check out his stuff. His duck is fantastic.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Lee?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna reiterate. Thanks for having me on. Nice meeting everybody. This is awesome. I had a lot of fun. And buy Mark's book.
That's why we're here, folks. That's it. So, Mark, one last thing. Give them all your handles. Give them where they can find you because they're gonna want to go looking for you.
Easiest way is go to www.itcamefromradio.com. Just Google It Came From the Radio. We are a syndicated radio show, new weekly new episode every Monday released. We do a live show courtesy of the East Middle Public Library the second Wednesday of every month, which was today. You go down to www.eastmiddle.info. We are on 88 FM. 88.1 FM WARY in Westchester County. So if you live in Westchester County, you can hear us there. We're on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. 8 p.m. on sci-fi.radio. We're on Thursdays on BTD Radio at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Fridays we're on at 6 o'clock on indievolt.com. Saturday and Sundays we're on at, I believe it's 8 o'clock on Central Oregon Radio. We just got added to firstcomicsnews.com. They have our stuff there, and we're on about 45 different podcast places. So if you listen to podcasts, we're probably on there. Just look for it. Came from the radio.
There you have it, folks. This has been The Written Writ, and hope you've had a lot of fun with us here, hanging out, checking things out, going all geeky with everything. Make sure on Kickstarter to look for Dime Store Detective, Withered, and Hairology. They're all ongoing right now, and they're trying to get to where they're trying to go. Go support them on Kickstarter, and with that, I'll do what I always do. I'll press the button.